students usually call me Miss Natalie, and I'm with Creative Action. And in this video, I'm going to tell you about our Lost and Found project, and I will invite you to participate. So, you might have heard of a Lost and Found before. Usually, a normal Lost and Found is a place where people put things they found, so people who have lost something can check there and try to find them. If your teacher thinks your class has time, then they could pause this video after I ask a couple of questions about a lost and found so that your class has time to answer them out loud. So here's the questions. Does your school have a lost and found? Have you seen it before? Where is it? What kind of things are in your school's lost and found? What kind of things are usually in a lost and found? So in this project, we are using the idea of a lost and found in a different way. People use the word lost when they're talking about something they're looking for that they can't find or that they don't have anymore. So for example, sometimes you might lose a toy or a book and have a hard time finding it. Or you might even lose a tooth. But sometimes we use the word lost to talk about other things too. Like maybe things we hoped we would be able to do that then we were not able to do. Like maybe a birthday party you were looking forward to that got canceled. Or sometimes people also use the word lost to talk about living things, animals, or even people who have died. Like it could be a tree, a pet, or a person we knew. For the found part, people use the word found after they find something, of course, like maybe a lucky penny you found on the ground if you're lucky. But sometimes people also use the word found to mean something they found out. So like something they learned or something that surprised them. Today, we're going to invite you to be part of an art project where we think about and share things we've lost and found. And it could be objects, like things you can hold, or it could be other kinds of things, more like ideas or feelings or something you wanted to do, or like something you learned. Sometimes thinking about what we've lost can be kind of hard, it can be sad, and even thinking about what we have found can be hard if it was something that was kind of hard to find out or that you didn't really want to learn. So before we keep going, let's take a minute to do just a couple of things that can sometimes help when things are tough. So first, let's do a little shakedown. You can shake out one arm, and then the other arm, and then one of your legs, and then the other leg, and then you can shake out your whole body. Okay. And now, let's take a few slow, deep breaths. You can close your eyes for this part if you want to, but you do not have to. And when we get to the part where I ask you to take a deep breath in, you can try sending the breath way down low to your belly. And you can even put your hand right underneath your belly button like this, so you can feel a little more easily if the breath is going down that far. So try not to do your deep breaths like this. See how my chest was going up and down? The breaths were really fast. Try to do it more like this. So you probably saw my chest was still moving a little bit. That's okay. It doesn't have to be completely frozen, but try to send a lot of the breath down here. All right, so start by breathing out slowly, maybe like you're blowing bubbles. And then take a nice deep breath in and out. We'll do that a couple more times. In and out. Okay, one last time. Nice and slow, nice and low. In and out. So, before I tell you about our Creative Action Lost and Found project that we're doing at our school, I wanted to share a little bit about a different Lost and Found project that inspired us and kind of gave us the idea for this one. So this other version of a Lost and Found art installation was curated. That just means some art that was carefully, thoughtfully put together by Andrea Jones in a place called Baltimore, Maryland. Their project looks a little bit different from what we're doing at your school. You'll see the first part I'm showing you is pretty different from what we're going to do, and then the second part is more similar. It's more the same. So here's the first part. The curator asked artists to create some small works of art showing what they lost and what they found since the coronavirus that causes COVID-19 came to their community. Here are some close-ups of a couple of the pieces of art that the artists made. An artist named Cecily Habamana made this piece. She is the co-owner of a place called So Creative Lounge. That is a place that is in the building behind the fence where the installation is. It's a place where people used to come together to sew and make things together. She says that once the coronavirus that causes COVID-19 came, they had to close, and they still don't have everyone who used to go there coming back yet. She said, what we lost was connection. Connection between our students, connection between the work that we did together. She made this piece with fabric and a sewing machine to show the kinds of things her community used to do together. She also included some strands of pearls all separate from each other because that's how she felt her community was, all separate from each other. Another artist named Alicia Tarr created this piece. Inside it, there is a tiny mural that's a painting on a wall to honor the people who died in the past year, like her aunt. Tarr's work of art also honors things she found, however, like a lot of people who all worked really hard to sew masks for their neighbors and for kids during a time when there were not enough masks to go around for everybody. The curator also invited people passing by the installation to share what they lost or what they found. And this is the part of the project that is more similar to what we're inviting everyone at your school to do. People wrote about losses like the fun at school I had and fellowship. They also wrote about things they found, like my puppy, or how to play with my brother, and a voice to advocate for myself. Advocate is another word for standing up for someone or for something. In Creative Actions Lost and Found, we've made an art installation at your school to remember and honor all different kinds of things that people in your school community have lost and found over the past year or two. The one at your school will look kind of like this. Maybe not exactly the same, but it'll be kind of similar to this. We are doing this project at schools and places in the community all around Central Texas this year. We're asking all the members of your school community, students, teachers, other people who work at the school, family members of students, maybe even neighbors who live nearby the school, could even just be people who visit your school. All those people, we're inviting them to write or draw things that they've lost or things that they found in the past year or two. We're inviting you to tie them on tags that'll look kind of like this and tie them to the installation. So you might be able to see there's a couple of tags on this one already. At some schools, the art installation is on a gate. At some schools, it's on a fence. You can check the letters sent home to your grown-ups to see where exactly the one at your school is. We've shared some white and some brown tags with your school. If you'd like to share something you've lost, please write or draw about it on a brown tag. And if you'd like to share something you've found, please write or draw it on a white tag. And the tags that you get at your school should probably have those questions, what have you lost, what have you found, written on them to help everybody kind of keep track of which is for what. The example project that I just showed you from Maryland had a lot of things on it, especially in the works of art by the artists, about the pandemic, about the coronavirus that causes COVID-19, and about how much that has changed things for people. But you don't have to write or draw things about coronavirus or COVID. You can if you want, but you don't have to. You can add ideas about anything you've lost and found lately, anything that you can remember, anything from the past year or two. Also, You don't have to share things you've lost and things you've found. You could just write or draw about things you've lost if you're having a hard time thinking about things you've found. Or you could write or draw about things you've found if you can't think of things you've lost, or if you just don't want to because it makes you sad. Sometimes it does feel kind of good to get, thoughts about things that are sad or hard or upsetting out of our head and onto some paper. Sometimes it's nice to share those things with other people and to see other people sharing them, because it can let us know that we're not going through those hard things alone. But sometimes it's just too much. It's just too sad. It's just too hard. So that's fine. You don't have to write or draw anything about something that makes you super, super sad if you don't want to. Whatever feels good right now is totally fine. When you write or draw on the tags, please don't use just a regular marker, since these are going to be outside. When they get wet in the rain, then regular marker will run down, and then people won't be able to see what you wrote or drew anymore. So you can use crayons, colored pencils, regular pencils, or permanent markers. Permanent markers, I think, actually work the best. They last the longest in the sun and the rain and everything. But we will leave it up to your teacher or up to your grown-ups at home to decide if they want you to use permanent markers in this project, because they are permanent. So that's a very big responsibility. It's their call. Also, when you're thinking about what you've lost and what you've found and deciding what to write on the tags or what to draw, try to pick something that you don't mind other people seeing, because other people at your school or even people just walking by the school are going to see the tags. Also, our team at Creative Action will be visiting the Lost and Found installations to take pictures of the different tags, and we're going to put them on our Lost and Found website. So that way, people all over the community will get to see each other's ideas about what we've lost and what we've found. For both of those things you've lost or things you've found, if you draw a picture, you could draw an actual picture of the thing you've lost or found, or you could just draw a picture of something that reminds you of that thing. So here's an example of what I wrote and drew about something I lost in the past year or two and something I found. For something I lost, I drew a cake, since there were some family parties I wanted to go to lately and I ended up not being able to go. So I wrote about it on one side and then I drew a cake on the other side. And for what I found, something I learned this year, something I found out, is that I love riding my bike. It makes my heart really, really happy. And I did write about that on one side, but I thought drawing a bike would be kind of hard for me. So I just drew some lines to show kind of the wind, the motion of the wind, because that's what I feel when I'm on my bike. So it kind of symbolizes it for me. It reminds me of being on my bike. And I also drew a heart, since, like I said, riding my bike makes my heart happy. When you're done, you can check with your teacher to find out what they want you to do with the tags that you made. Some teachers might want you to add your tags to the Lost and Found installation with the grown-ups you live with, maybe before, after school, on a weekend. Some teachers might want to take your class and have the whole class add things to the installation at your school together, maybe during class time, so you could all tie them on together as a class. Or some teachers might just want to collect the tags, pick them up, hold on to them, and add them at a later time. So it just depends on whatever your teacher thinks will work best for your class. All right, well, that's about it. Thank you so much for participating in this project. We are really looking forward to learning more about what young people all over Central Texas have to say about what you've lost and what you've found. We think it's going to be really powerful and really important to see which things are different, which things are the same. We hope it'll help people feel more connected and less alone. We especially think this project is important because sometimes adults have their own ideas about what young people have lost lately. And sometimes adults make a big deal out of losses that are not actually that important to kids. And also, sometimes adults can forget to pay attention to the losses that are really important to you. And another thing, sometimes adults get kind of weighed down and kind of heavy thinking about all the loss, all the bad and sad things going on that have happened, and we forget to remember what has been found lately. So for all those reasons, we think kids' ideas about what you've lost and what you've found are really important, and we're really glad you're sharing them. Thank you so much.